Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options in Play video update. So today, a little bit different. I'm not talking about an earnings trade. This is being a biotech event, and for those of you that follow me on the VTF or maybe have been a member of the Options in Play community for a while, you know I love bios. I've loved bios for years. It's one of like my focus areas, and I'm always looking for upcoming biotech events. Ways to really put options to work because for most traders or most like stock only traders, these biotech events can be pretty nerve wracking. When you see a company present phase 3 data or even phase 2 in some of these stocks now, things are up 50%, down 70%, up 100%, down 90%. It makes it really challenging for like a stock only trader to participate in these events. Whereas if you're an option trader, right, define risk. I mean, the price you pay for the options is your risk into the event. So you know at any given time exactly how much you're risking. And I feel like the options are just very keenly suited to these types of trades. So again, I'm always looking for these types of setups. Big biotech events to possibly focus on, and medicines company MDCO. This is Imminent phase 3, so it's actually the first of 3 phase 3s to read out. But this one's going to be the most important just because it is the first. So this is a company that's developing kind of like a new age cholesterol drug, and expectations are for positive data because phase 2 was pretty solid. Um, the problem is that the new age cholesterol drugs, like kind of competing ones from Regeneron and Amgen, haven't really been doing so well. Um, Medicines, MDCO, their drug is going to try to be competing on, well, it should probably compete on price, so it'll probably come in at a lower price, and also probably will try to compete on the ease of use because, instead of having to administer the drug multiple times in a short period for Regeneron and Amgen, this will be about by yearly, so twice a year. So there's definitely some just a little background on it there for you. What you need to know maybe from a trade point of view is A, like what's the expected move, and B, like what are analysts saying, right? What's the kind of like the handicap for it? And what you want to know is that the September straddle, okay, so the September options, there's no weekly options available. September options are saying about 15 points or so. So for $33 stock, that's about 45%. So very critical to this stock. Very critical. Um, what I've read a few notes on this. Positive news could be anywhere from maybe like 20 to 50%, depending on how positive, how strong, if it really trumps the competition, right? On the downside, anywhere from 50 to potentially 90%, depending on whether it's a complete dud, whether there's a safety issue. So it seems as though the downside scenario maybe has a potential bigger move, but maybe a little bit less likely. So something to like factor in, right? But 50 to 90%, there's about $5 worth of cash. So you've seen it happen before. I mean, it sounds kind of ridiculous to say it could lose 90%, but stock has about $5 worth of net cash, and it's happened in plenty of bios over the last couple of years. When they flop, when it's like the main drug or maybe the only drug in the pipeline, things can really get hit hard. So um, definitely a few scenarios where the 15 points priced in for the straddle seem like they could be light. Um, if you're looking at maybe like a way to play it without having to go through MDCO, they are partnered with Alnylam on this drug, so they licensed the tech from Alnylam. So Alnylam should move a little bit off of this headline. Um, Alnylam options aren't pricing in anywhere near the same magnitude of a move. They're only looking for about 8 points, so about 10% or so. Those are September options as well. Also, another way you could possibly look at this is ESPR. because this similar MDCO is kind of like a name trying to compete in the cholesterol space, and they're going for they're trying to compete on the price, similar to what MDCO might have to. So I've read that this could be under pressure if MDCO is good, maybe a little bit of relief bounce if the data is not so good. But that one, options are a little bit thinner. Spreads are a little bit wider, not as much volume. So that seems to be like the third way people are kind of approaching it. MDCO options are the busiest, Alnylam second, and then ESPR third. All right. And what's also interesting, so you got that top line event coming out before the end of August because the company's stated in the past that they want to have the top line results prior to there's a conference coming up the first week of September that they're going to be presenting the data at. So you might get a reaction to the initial release, right? And then if they present it at that conference, which I believe is on September 2nd, you could get like a secondary move, possibly even in the opposite direction off of that. So, maybe for instance, if it pops, like the release says positive data, right, and the thing pops, then maybe what you could look at is maybe for like another trade into that conference, because maybe there's something in that data that they didn't like when they present it in full. Then maybe you could possibly get a move the opposite way, or maybe if it's down a little bit, and maybe when they present the data, it looks better, it could get a move the other way. So there could theoretically be two significant moves in this stock over a very short time frame. So it's the first when they release the data, which they've said in the past that they plan to release the top line data prior to the conference on September 2nd. And then you could get a move after the conference when they actually present the full data. So just something to keep an eye on. So, maybe if you don't want to play like the initial move, maybe what you could watch for is to see if the options come down and maybe look at a trade possibly into that conference because there could still, in theory, be a pretty significant move just when the actual full data set is presented. All right. So, it is the end of August. There isn't a ton of biotech news out there. So, with only like maybe a couple names, with only like traders focusing on maybe a couple names, this one's probably gonna get a lot of attention. So, that's definitely something to keep on your radar. Take a look. Should be interesting, and expect news in this sometime in the next 2 weeks, and then on that conference at the beginning of September. All right. So questions, comments, I love to hear from you guys. So please don't hesitate to reach out. Hope you have a wonderful night. Best of luck with all of your trades, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.